Hey guys, thanks for tuning into Long Island Wargaming. If you found yourself here, you might have either been lost or waiting for months for a new video broadcast. And here it is. And I have my good old friend from TNT Wargaming, Tyler. Say hi, Tyler.
Hey guys.
So we're missing Dylan. We haven't actually spoken to him in a long time either, but this kind of came up real last minute, so we're going with it. And as you might have seen, you might be popping around from page to page. People are talking about Ninth Age a little bit more. There was a couple videos done on different armies, in particular Malorian looking at orcs and goblins, OB and Sustainable Center looking at Bretonia or Kingdom of whatever it's called now.
Knights of Equitaine.
Knights of Equitaine. So we decided, hey, let's just bullshit. Let's talk about some. Hold on, let me make sure I got this right. The Vermin Swarm, the Ninth Age
Yes.
Vermin Swarm. So today's date is the 18th of November. So if you're looking back at this video in the future, everything can be completely different or changed. So this is going to be 0.9.1 beta version of the Ninth Age. But we're just going to look through some rules, take a look at it. I've been pretty absent in Warhammer, and if this is going to be the solution, I may be back. I'm very interested in see how this goes. I'm just going to pull up the rules. Tyler took some time to take some notes and make some points, so we're gonna try to address what we can, and then I'm sure towards the end there'll just be some bullshit. So let's get to some meat and potatoes. All right, is it viewing?
Yeah, I see it.
There it is. So we got a real simple PDF. This is. Let me just take a look here. I think it's how many pages we got? About 20 pages. So most of these army books are around 20 pages, which is great. As a side note, I really like the layout because it's not like the old books that GW put out where it's like we're going to have fluff and bullshit in the beginning and then other crap along the way. And if you want to refer to a single army list option, you have to look in two different places. You have to look at the points page and then you have to look at the rules page. But here it's going to be all together, which I really like. Do you
Now,
agree?
something I will add is I have heard they're going to look into the idea of having fluff. Um, so whether they make up their own stuff or have it inputted, I have heard that that's a potential to be included in future editions.
Yeah, fluff is great. I know a lot of people play the game for the fluff. If it's nice, if it's put together nicely in the book, I think that would be wonderful. Some people might not have cared as much as I do, but I played Skaven and so did you, and there was a lot of back and forth between entries in the book. So to kind of have everything in a one spot is a little bit easier, at least for me. So
Yeah, and if you played 8th edition Skaven, you know you actually had to use two books, the original army book plus the FAQ, which was in itself what, like 30 pages. It was ridiculous.
yeah, it's nuts.
So
So
another thing that's going to be potentially included later is special characters or named characters. So at the time of this version 0.9.1, there's no special characters included. If eventually there are, I'll probably do another video whether with Nick or myself discussing those. But yeah, Skaven's my first army, which is why I decided to start looking at Vermin Swarm.
yeah, I'm very curious to see how all the armies look. So I'm hoping other people do videos, and I'll also read through them. So if you guys, for some reason, have no idea what this is, Ninth Edition is a community-based
Ninth Age.
Ninth Age. Ninth Age is a community-based, fan-created solution to the end of the Eighth Edition GW Warhammer.
And what I think has the Ninth Age crew has going for them is that they actually kind of hired on, now not paying anyone, but they had people apply to join the different community groups to build these armies. So there's actually three people that were part of the Vermin Swarm army book creation, plus however many people they had on the main rulebook. Um, and I wanted to find the people's names so I could give a shout out and thank them for all the effort they put in, but I realized I forgot to do that. So maybe I'll add it in comments later. But
Yeah, that's a lot of people, though. Because what? How many armies are there? At least 10,
15.
15 armies. So that alone is 45 people plus the main rulebook. So this is quite an operation.
Yeah, it was the former ETC and Swedish comp creators. I think they kind of collaborated on this event, so that's pretty sweet, and I'm really excited for it. And I've been talking to a lot of people. Like I just went into my local game store the other day where I buy my models, and and the guy mentioned how Age of Sigmar is not doing that great for him. And I asked if he had even heard of Ninth Age, and he said he hadn't. So I'm pushing that on him. So if I can get some more people to see it, and really, if listen, if you want people to play fantasy, you need to be the people promoting fantasy. If you don't say it, if people don't know about it, they can't play it. That's as simple as that is. Be the change you want to see in the world.
Well, this is. I think the first step is this kind of finally unifying the gamers, because I know you lost some people to Kings of War and you lost some people to other games, but this seems to be pulling people back together, or at least it is a topic at hand. So hopefully that remains to be the case.
Yeah, at least the conversation's happening.
So
I figure we should probably just get into it. We've had the Army Special Rule page up for a while, and a lot of the rules will seem either very similar or the exact same as previous in the Skaven book. So in the Vermin Swarm, there's a special rule called Vermin Swarm, which basically combines the scurrying, flee away kind of thing, which is +1 to flee, and the strength in numbers rule. So it's strength in numbers is basically the exact same as it was, but it's been clarified that this rule cannot be used to modify the leadership that is distributed by models. So if your general has +3 leadership from the Vermin Swarm, he doesn't send out leadership 10. He sends out his regular leadership 7 or 6 if you're using one of the other guys without the sweet upgrade. And then that inspiring presence can then be augmented by their unit's Vermin Swarm rule. Nick?
I'm listening. I'm reading too. I was hoping
Okay.
you could. All right. All right, cool. So that kind of simplifies it into one rule. Reckless is essentially the rule that I believe the Globadiers used to have.
Kind of. It's kind of they got rid of the slave rule that you can shoot into combats with slaves, and it's been replaced with this reckless that models with this special rule are able to shoot into close combat with friendly units that contain infantry, war beasts, or swarms, and do not contain any characters. And then when you shoot into that combat, you randomize every hit that's scored. On a 4+, it goes to your target, the enemy. On a 1, 2, 3, it goes onto your own units.
Okay. And Reckless is only for ballistic skill shooting weapons. Is this correct?
Yes. Yeah, non-template shooting weapons.
Right. Because the template is what broke it in the previous edition.
Exactly. So
before it even got FAQ'd.
Yeah, if you did like the flame template and hit like 13 of your guys plus your one target, you like a monster or whatever, then you'd randomize and it might add random like to 7 and 7, which is ridiculous.
Right. All right, cool. So we have honorless, which characters that are honorless do not receive the usual penalties for refusing a challenge. So that's kind of like the
Verminous Valor.
Yep.
Basically the exact same. We can when we give up and don't accept a challenge, we don't take so generals can still give out their inspiring presence, and our BSBs can still hold their ground.
It's really funny how they're able to say all that in one sentence when like the old book had like a 3-paragraph entry explaining Verminous Valor. All right, cool. Greater Clan. If the army does not contain a clan lord, a single army with this special rule may be given. A single character with this special rule may be given +1 leadership. If done so, the character must be chosen as general, even if he normally not a leader.
And I think this is a great rule. This kind of thing didn't exist before. It's new for 9th Age and the Vermin Swarm. And what it lets you do is create fluffy lists by having, say, I'm going to use the old clan names, like a clan Molder, which was like the Hell Pit Abomination. You could have a character from that clan get this greater clan rule, now be leadership 7, and basically be as good as a warlord was before.
And so go ahead.
Yep. So the 4 models that have this special rule are the Strain Leader, Warp Tech Machinist, Death Runner, and Blight Priest. So it just means you don't have to take a warlord and have something with leadership 7. You can still do the equivalent of the Gray Priest. Was it Gray Priest? What was it?
The Gray Seer?
Gray Seer, yeah. So the Gray Seer you can still have because it says in particular does not contain a clan lord, which is the new warlord equivalent. So you could take the equivalent of the Gray Seer plus have a hero upgraded to leadership 7.
Hmm. All right, so there's some play there with the characters.
Yeah, I think it's that's one of the coolest rules that I noticed so far in this.
Okay. So Blight Cult is essentially Mark and Nurgle, which I'm assuming Clan Pestilence gets, or whatever whatever the respective clan is now.
Blood priests, they're called.
Okay.
It's not quite Markham Nurgle because Markham Nurgle would be you get minus
Minus
one
one
to
to
the
hit.
weapon skill.
Oh, this
It's
is
not
minus
minus
one
one to
to
hit anymore.
it's minus one to
Yeah,
wound.
minus one to
So
weapon skill. Weapon skill. This
what?
this rule, Blight Cult, is toxic attacks have minus one to wound.
Okay.
So toxic attacks, it's a special rule. If the special rule or the attack has toxic attacks, it's a strength 3, armor piercing 6, so no armor saves. So we're minus 1 to being wounded by any attacks that have that toxic thing.
Okay. So it essentially is making plague stuff immune to plague stuff. So
Exactly. Yeah.
Nurgle versus whatever. Okay. And then Warpstone weapons, a misfire chart. Is it worth going through, or is it kind of just standard?
Um, it's kind of a combination of what used to happen to our weapon teams. So like your model, if it misfires, might scatter and explode. Um, it seems honestly, I think it's a little bit more or less punishing than the old rules.
However, However, it's at least streamlined, as in every War Machine and weapons team has this same misfire chart.
Yes, exactly.
So there's what, like 7 less charts to refer to now.
Yeah. There's no doom wheel running wild, warp cannon, poison wind mortar, plague catapult. Like there's so many.
So yeah, streamlining I think is a good way to kind of get back to some basics before we expand. So a nice simple armory of equipment and weapons and armor. So I guess this is really just more also special rules. So we got the meat grinder model that has the meat grinder has impact hits 2d6, grinding attacks 2d6, innate defense 5 plus. So I'm guessing this is the old Doomflayer and
Yeah.
like Doomwheel kind of rules. Okay,
Yeah. What do they call it now? I don't remember.
meat grinder I thought, right? And a blight flail is essentially an old sensor, correct?
Yep.
All right, models with the plague flail can make an additional attack with, I guess, the toxic special rule at initiative 10. What's that about?
So basically, they got rid of always strikes first and always strikes last. And if you remember the Skaven army, a lot of things happened like before the combat, before anyone strikes. This happens. So this is just a way to make it happen as soon as possible in the combat, such that the idea that as soon as you come into contact at all in the vicinity of this weapon, you're going to be taking one of those hits. So it's an automatic hit with toxic special rule.
Excellent. And are same initiative attacks made simultaneously?
Yes.
Okay.
There's a little bit of a change. So the flail rules themselves changed in this edition. There requires 2 hands, which I think was the same as before, plus 2 strength, but now you have plus 1 to being hit in close combat if you're using that weapon.
Okay.
But it's a kind of way to get that great weapon effect, but you're plus 1 to being hit compared to being always strikes last or initiative 0 in this case.
Right. All right, that's cool. I'm okay with that. All right, so other equipment, we've got a tail weapon, which is plus 1 attack, warp stone, a warp token, adds D3 to the casting bonus of a spell. On a 1, you get a hit strength value equal to the number of power dice used.
So that's a little bit different. I think it used to be you automatically take a wound, didn't you? From
On
the
the
warp
roll
token?
of a 1, yes, and
Yeah.
usually your ward save gave you a 50% chance of saving that.
Right. So now it's if you use 1 dice plus a warp token, and now you're only taking a strength 1 hit.
Right. And if I remember correctly, a lot of the misfire or the miscast charts in this edition now have to do with how many power dice you use, correct?
Yeah, it's more punishing the more dice you use. Like I think the 1, 2, 3, or sorry, the 2, 3, 4, because I think it's still 2d6. 2, 3, 4 is now if you use 1, 2, or 3 power dice, nothing bad. But if you use 4 or 5, you die.
Right.
And I say nothing bad. It's bad, but it's not like you die.
Hmm.
Yeah.
All right, so we got the Rattling Gatling gun. It's a shooting weapon, multiple 2d6 times 2, or multiple shots, 3d6 times 2, player's choice. That's interesting.
I
Range
really
20,
like this.
range 24, strength 4, armor piercing 1, which is regular armor piercing, -1 to the armor save. Slow to fire, so I guess you cannot counter shoot. That's what slow to fire is, correct?
Yeah, no stand and shoot.
Okay, so it's got magical attacks. So instead of warp attack, so there's no warp attacks, it's just called magical attacks now.
Yep.
All right, so we have warp weapon misfire, which is the chart we just saw. Quick to fire, which means you can move and shoot.
Quick to
The
fire
weapon.
is no penalty for move and shoot,
Okay.
and normally with quick to fire you can also stand and shoot, no matter how close your enemy's charging from. But that's kind of superseded by the slow to fire that says you can't stand and shoot. So I mean, it's a little bit of a contradiction, but I think it's pretty obvious, and it might come up in asking the people that wrote the book, but I think it's pretty obvious that you would not be able to stand and shoot with this.
Right. And I guess the nice thing with the quick to fire is they can move with their parent unit and still shoot, which is cool.
Yeah.
The weapon never suffers to hit penalties for multiple shots. And if double comes up when rolling, you go to the misfire chart.
Yeah, so
So,
that's if you're using 2d6, you got like a 1 in 6 chance of misfiring. But if you're using the 3d6 shots, yeah, that goes up quite a bit.
but high risk, high reward with that.
Yeah, it's kind of like a 1 in 3 chance instead.
And the weapons team has weapon skill 3, correct?
Mm,
That actually brings the rattling gun back, I think.
yeah, ballistic skill 3. I mean, the old rattling gun rule was kind of funny. It was like you roll a dice, whatever it is, you can roll another one, and you keep deciding if you want to keep rolling. And if you ever come up with doubles, then you have to stop. But I think the maximum would be what, 6, 11, 15. Like the number of shots possible now is huge.
Yes. Yeah, it's a lot easier to obtain a higher number. All right, so next we have Noxious Mortar, which I guess is the old Poison Wind Globe launcher. Um, it automatically hits, so you just pick a target and it goes 2d6 hits.
Yeah.
And then if a double comes up, it hits the weapon. Oh, the weapon misfires. This is cool. So like, it takes a lot of the stupid template and range and extra dice rolling away, which I really like because I feel like, except cannons, because cannons were so laser guided. It's just interesting how you could bring high trained, or not in the Skaven sense here, but usually
Yeah.
you bring trained warriors and weaponsmiths to a battle and none of them can hit. Or like, I understand there's a variable, like if you're shooting a trebuchet, you're not gonna hit exactly where you want, but 10 inches off in the battlefield is like 3 football fields. Like, it just made no sense how stuff could scatter so much. And I think taking that away is interesting. It
Yeah, I
also
mean,
prevents a lot of
I
fights, because a lot of
I'm
fight discrepancies would come out with a stupid template and who it hits, who it doesn't,
yeah,
where it belongs.
where exactly who it's over and whatnot. But I mean, I like it because I could never hit anything with the scatter dice. So this means I'll actually hit something once in a while. Um, what's interesting about this one is it'll average roughly 7 hits, which I think a 3 inch template was hitting maximum, like a perfect shot hits 15 before. If it was a
21.
21 of the 20 millimeter infantry.
Yes.
Okay, so the number of hits is down so much, so I can't see people unless they're using like a cavalry army, in which case it would only hit like 7 guys or whatever. Then it doesn't really matter. But I feel like your opponent can't complain when the chances of hitting max is less than it was before.
Yes, I'll trade the 21 for always hits. And then it just comes down to the dice. You're going to get an average of 7.
Yeah.
And like you said, it's going to be huge against the small fast cav units.
Yeah.
Because you're averaging more models than unit than the unit.
And it's toxic attacks, so it's strength 3, um, but no armor saves. So it might be nice to use on some heavy armored cavalry.
Right. I think it might be a little less effective, but it's hard to say because I mean, if you used to go after like giant monstrous cavalry, like skull crushers, or even a bus of cavalry, like regular Empire, oh, Knight realms,
Knights.
yeah, Inner Circle Knights, a well planned shot. It was what on a 5+. They would take a wound, no armor
Yeah, the
save.
guy. Um,
Yes, the guy in the
was
center was 4+. Everyone else was 5+.
right, and then
So
the old play catapult was just was strength 2.
what?
Strength 2
Yes,
pie plate on the catapult. Yeah,
yes,
sorry.
yeah. That was a little different though because that was pestilence, right?
Yeah,
Um, but I mean, it's about the same with a 5+ wound. Essentially, if you're going after stuff that's toughness 4, but if it's going against stuff that is toughness 3, then you can be wounding on a 4+. So, all right, let's go on into the warp flamethrower. This is a shooting weapon with the following profile. The range is 12 inches, strength 5, flaming attack, magical weapon. It automatically hits and causes 2d6 hits on the target, which is huge that this is automatically hitting. When it comes back to the flame template, losing that was, I mean, the flame template, I'm happy that the templates are gone. Are you?
yeah, yes and no. Like, it was kind of neat to like for breath weapons and these flame cannons to be able to drop that big flame template, but it didn't. It was just time and arguments most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
So like, I don't know.
I already see a lot of time being saved by some of these changes.
But I can also see the opponents just like, oh, what? It just 2d6 hits. Just that's what it does. Just 2d6 automatic hits. Well, this is fair.
Well, you know what? I'd rather that douchebaggery than you miss for 5 turns, and then on that sixth turn, you get that perfect shot that just destroys armies. Especially with
No,
the
that's different. Normally,
with
I do 5 turns of missing. Then on the sixth one, it misfires and explodes.
oh well, you're doing it all wrong.
Oh, okay.
No, because like the thing is like a single 70-point warp fire thrower could kill a well placed shot. Will kill a troll horde.
Yeah,
Strength 5 is 3 is to wound. Once you wound, D3 flaming attack. Like it's just
but now it's not D3 wounds anymore.
right. So I'm assuming it's going to be
Which is
cheaper,
pretty
but
huge.
I think those big pivotal things being removed makes it a little bit less scary.
Yeah.
So hopefully you have less people being like, "Oh, like that's so stupid." And I think that's what the Skaven or a rat book needs is less
Randomness.
bullshit. Yeah, that people get all
Yeah.
fussy about. All
So
right,
the price for all the weapon teams now is just base 50. They're all the exact same price.
which is cool. That's fine. All right, so sling is pretty standard. Warp
Slings
pistol,
are exact same.
musket. Warp grenades are just the globes. Always wound on a 4+. Armor piercing 6. I think. Yes, that's no armor save. Okay, so armor piercing is essentially 6 points of armor gone, so it's no armor save.
Yeah. And I think those are neat. The warp grenades I might end up taking now. I mean, I didn't have a lot of the grenadiers or globadiers before, but I think a unit of 5, 10 shots, hitting on 4s, and they wound on 4+ on everything. It's pretty neat.
All right, so then that's the only thing I must have missed there. Multiple shot 2.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, that's actually pretty big. It's gonna be -1 to hit though, but you're quick to fire.
Yeah,
So
so you don't pick you don't, if you're long range, so if you're outside 6 inches and multiple shot, it's a -2, and their ballistic skill 4. So I mean, worst case you're hitting on 5s if and they're skirmishers, so you can probably get within that 6 inches. And I did a lot of the lizardmen skink swarms, so I'm pretty confident with getting my skirmishers where they need to be.
they're BS4 now.
Yeah.
Wow, these guys are pretty legit. That's pretty cool.
So the musket you skipped, that was basically the old the old
Giselle.
Giselles, yeah.
Okay.
So it's strength 6, armor piercing 1.
And they
Never take
never suffer
damage.
a long range penalty, which is cool. And what's unwieldy?
Unwieldy means can't move and shoot, I think. No, that can't be right. I'm going to check quick.
Okay. All right, so we have magic items. Murder Blade is the new Fell Blade, and I know Tyler will go through that because he likes this weapon.
Yeah.
And
So sorry, I'm going to pop in quick. The unwieldy it's a -2 for moving and shooting, but you can
oh,
still move and shoot.
that's cool. So getting into position isn't a waste of turn.
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. All right, cool. So you want to go through some weapons quick?
Yep. So that was the extent of the mundane gear. Now we're going to go on to magic items. We only have 2 magic weapons now, so we lost a lot. I mean, I didn't use all of our magic weapons. I can take a list. There's like Warlock augmented weapon. I think I saw a lot, and the Weeping Blade I saw a lot. But beyond that, it was the Fell Blade on a Warlord that basically just went in to try and kill something. And the Weeping Blade rule is now a special rule for 20 points that assassins can buy. So Murder Blade, it's basically the exact same as the Fell Blade. The Holy Attacks is the reroll successful ward saves. Strength 10, multiple wounds d6. Yep. The only difference is before, at the end of your turn, on a 1 or a 2, you take a wound. Now it's you take a hit of toxic attack. So it's a strength 3 hit. So if you do something to boost your toughness, it's not necessarily always going to be that 1 in 3 chance of taking a wound.
Okay. Still 100 points.
Yeah, it's still 100 points.
You can't take any other gear with it.
Yeah, one of the things is it's infantry only, which annoys me, but it's not models on foot only. So you can still take the Murder Blade while riding the War Litter, because the War Litter is infantry, and infantry mounted on infantry are still considered infantry. But you can't go on that the Rat Ogre Bonebreaker anymore.
Infantry only. Is infantry only just making it so that it's not the Vermin Lord?
Well, the Vermin Lord can't take magic items, so it's
Okay.
definitely not that. It's so that you can't be on the
Bonebreaker?
the Bonebreaker or the giant blight rat or whatever they call it now, which is
Okay.
basically the old Forge World model.
And what's the big deal?
What's the big deal about giving them it
Yeah.
or not being able to take it?
Not well. Why does it matter that they can't take it, or why do you think it is that they can take it?
Well, I don't know if it's that they wanted to limit the amount of toughness and wounds that these kind of guys can have. Because if you went on if you put the Fell Blade on the giant blight rat, you're now toughness 5 with 4 wounds with the Fell Blade.
Okay.
Or toughness 4.
But you're paying 100 points for wounds. You're paying 100 points.
Yes, and they're going to have no other protection. So they want to limit, I guess, in the fact that you're not going to get the 4 wounds. But I don't know.
Okay.
It might be a needless restriction. I would have been fine to see it the other way, but they probably have some reason for justifying that.
So the warp stars are the same as the old book, right?
Yeah, 5 points less, but exact same, pretty much.
All right. Magic armor is the. I think this is what the World's Edge Mountain armor or whatever.
It's a combination of the World's Edge plus the warp augment or whatever it was.
Okay.
There's a spiky one that they take a hit if they attack you, a strength 4 hit, plus giving this plate armor.
All right.
Okay,
cool.
So warp forged armor. It's 25 points if a lord takes it. It's 25 points. It's 35 points if you're mounted. But what this allows you to do with this plate armor, which is 3+ to your armor save, so you'll have a 4 up base. You take a shield to get to a 3+. Then if you go mounted on the Clan Lord War Throne, it's +1 for being mounted, plus it has natural armor for another +1. So you for 25 or I guess 35 points because you'd be mounted, you can have a 1 up armor save, that the unit, whenever you make an armor save, they take a toxic attack, which I think is pretty neat. So if you can find a unit of like strength 3 infantry to throw this guy into.
Well, that's like I used to throw the bone breaker with that armor up against like witch elves, and they'd
Yeah,
have so many attacks, and they would just get dished back to them. Because hopefully you're making that 2+ armor.
yeah. But now you get the 1+, plus you can take the Dusk Stone or whatever they call it for 30 points. That gets you your re-rolled armor saves. And I think it's a neat idea. I don't know if it's that valuable, but it's something I'd like to try.
Okay. Shield of Rats. Courage is a shield when an enemy model in base contact with the wielder. Vermin player's choice has -1 attack down to a minimum of 1. And you get Distracting, which is the hand weapon.
-1.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's basically normal. That we have basically that item in the current Skaven book.
Alright, so Armlet of Power. It's got a bounce spell power level 4. It is for 1 turn. The caster doubles his strength.
I like it,
Interesting. It's like Potion of Strength, right?
but Potion of Strength was like +2 strength or +3, I think. This
Mm-hmm.
is double, and you can cast it repeatedly. Like every turn, you can cast it on yourself, and be rolling like Strength 8 Warlord.
For only 25 points.
Yeah.
Interesting. And how does bounce spells work now?
They're basically the same.
You still have to cast for it.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Enchanted items. Scepter of Vermin Valor. Models on foot only. The character can ignore the first in rank rule and may thus be placed in any rank.
Oh, I like that any rank. I just assumed it would go to the second when I first read it. Huh.
So wait, just before we even get into the rules, this says models on foot only. What's the
Yeah.
difference between models on foot and infantry?
So an infantry model that's mounted on a palanquin or like a war throne
Is still infantry.
is still considered infantry because it's an infantry mounted on infantry, and then you stay infantry. If it's infantry on a war beast, you become cavalry. If it's infantry on monstrous beast, you become a monstrous cav.
All right. And then you can spend 35 points to go into any rank at any time. So this is good for what? For keeping a good leadership.
Protect your Grey Prophet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
It'd be cool to leave your to be able to move your kind of leadership bubble back that whatever 8 inches if you have a really big unit of like 50 models. That'd be, I mean, I don't know. Having them at the back of a big bus is safer than being at the front of a big bus.
Depends on what school you go to. All right. Yeah, I don't know. I would really have to play with that to see if it's really worth it.
Yeah, 35 points seems like a lot. We pretty much were doing the same thing just by having like the champions. So you got your 3 models. Put your BSB in the unit plus like an extra guy, an engineer or something, and now you could put your Gracier in the second rank if you wanted to.
I'm really thinking about why you pay 35 points for that.
So if anyone watches this and they can think of a good reason you'd want to ignore first in rank for a model for 35 points, mind you.
You can still cast from the back of the rank, right?
Yeah.
Models on foot only. Okay, maybe we'll come back to that. All right, so Scalm looks similar, but it's D3 wound instead of all your wounds. Can't be bought by a Grey Prophet mounted on a Doom Bell or a Blight Priest mounted on a Blight Furnace. Okay.
That last part seems stupid to me because it's more expensive if you're mounted. Why was that? Is that not good enough?
I mean, I guess if you're mounted on a Bone Breaker or a Palanquin or whatever, it's a little bit more expensive.
But I mean, why is that distinction that Grey Prophet mounted on Doombell or Blight Priest on a Blight Furnace can't get that item?
I don't know.
You could have just left it at it being more expensive for them.
Well, it's not combined profiles, right? But they're on.
Yeah,
Actually, they're on. Is the Blight Furnace and a Doom Bell a chariot now?
I think they have a special rule instead of being that they're called like I mean they're called chariots, but it's like the pushed into battle stuff.
Okay.
War platforms they're called. So it's got the war platform special rule, which basically it's a chariot, but it's allowed to join into a unit.
Okay. All right. We'll look at that more, I guess, as time goes on. Next, we have this is the Warp Hole. I think that just sounds funny. One use only. This is a catapult artillery weapon with the following profile: range 8 inches, 3-inch template, magical attacks. Every model hit by the template must pass an initiative test. Okay, so this is Brass Orb.
Yep.
And what's
But it does D3+1 wounds.
okay,
That's
which
a multiple
is
wounds ordinance.
D3+1. Okay,
D3+2 against flying things.
okay, interesting. If it's a misfire, you put it over the user. Okay.
Same as before. Magical banner.
Warp Storm Banner. Oh, geez, Is this it?
It's
Oh
the
man.
exact same.
Oh man. Does it still wait? Does it still end on a 4+?
So, no, sorry. It only lasts a turn. So it's a little bit weaker than before. It's one use only. Activate at the start of opponent's turn. During that turn, like that player turn, shooting attacks are -2, and shooting attacks that don't roll to hit, like cannons and stuff, are a 4+, and they cannot fly during that turn.
Huh. Yeah, I mean it's still worth it for that pivotal turn. It's just I feel like I'll never bring it because I'm so used to it going on for forever that I'm
Yeah.
spoiled.
Yeah.
Where a new player would be like, "Oh, this is great." Where an old player would be like, "I'm not going to spend the same amount of points for something that's not going to last as long."
Yeah. So before we move on to the units, there's a couple things, um, old items that are missing. So old magic items we used to have that were basically in every list or almost every list, or things that I think were fun that are just gone. So Doom Rocket, that was basically an auto include for me. It was like awesome. You knew that if like 14 inches, use your 4 dice, it's going to be a large template, strength 5. It was so good. Do you agree?
It was too good.
Yeah. So I'm not surprised it's gone, but I am a little disappointed it's gone. Next on my list is the Plague Banner being gone. Whenever I ran Plague Monks, the Plague Banner was an auto include for them. Basically, it let you for one turn re-roll all failed hits and failed wounds for that unit. Um, Now, Blight Priests or Blight Monks, which are Plague Monks, they get hatred now, so it's not that big a deal. Like you still get the reroll hits or failed hits. Um, Warp Energy Condenser's gone, and Skaven Brew is my last. Unfortunately, it's gone. I thought Skaven Brew was a lot of fun. I never got anything good from it, but I still liked it.
All right. Well, farewell, beloved magic items. And we miss you for forever. I loved the Plague Banner too, especially on a giant horde with 50 attacks. It was just silly.
Yeah.
All right. So, Vermin Demon, or Daemon. We have Path of Ruin, Disease, or Shadows. So we got the standard Skaven, plus now they can take Shadows.
And disease is a combination of Nurgle plus plague. So it's there's no longer two different ones. They kind of combine them to make them a single lore or path now.
Okay.
But Shadows is new.
What is otherworldly?
Otherworldly would be kind of a demonic rule, I believe. Basically, I think it says that they get magic attacks.
And probably a 4+ board save.
Probably a 5 up.
5 up board save. Okay.
Let's see.
He also has multiple wounds D3, which is like the Doom Glaive that the older guy had. Comes with Swift Stride. I don't think the old one did.
Uh, yeah, I don't think so. I don't think it did. Otherworldly, magic attacks, immune to psychology, and 5 up board save.
Okay, cool. I would like a 4 up board save on this guy, but I'll take the 5. The demonic instability is the same, it looks like.
Yep.
Okay, cool. And his options. So he can have the not a leader special rule for free. So why don't you explain that?
So essentially, the not a leader special rule means it cannot be your general. The fact that it's an upgrade that you can get suggests to me that if you don't get that, a Vermin Demon can be your general. And because it has the highest leadership, it has to be your general, which was never an option before. You could not have a Vermin Lord as a general. Why you might want this is it would give a leadership 9, I believe, 18-inch inspiring presence.
Is he a large target? No, he's not a large target.
All monsters are large targets.
All right, do large targets have plus 6 inches to inspiring presence?
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay. So that's totally worth it. Leadership 9. I mean, you're not really using your strength of numbers anywhere then, but looks pretty decent. So you can take one of the following: Pathmaster, Distracting, Lightning Reflexes, or Grinding Attacks 2d6. Pathmaster, what's this?
Pathmaster, that's the new lore master. It means you can choose your spells rather than roll them.
Okay. Distracting is the parry save, right?
Yep.
Which is, how does that work?
-1 to being hit.
Okay. Lightning Reflexes?
That's the new always strikes first kind of equivalent. So elves had lightning reflexes instead. It means you get +1 to hit, unless you're attacking with like initiative 0. Then you just get to attack at your normal initiative, I believe.
Okay.
Same way before.
We've got Grinding Attacks. Grinding Attacks 2d6. And then he may be Exalted, which is a 30-point upgrade. He gets +1 wound, and he goes on the bigger base, like the
Much
big
bigger base.
Demon Prince.
That's the yeah.
I'm not. I mean, I like that they're trying to cater to people that have the different size models, but in this case, though, is 30 points worth having an extra wound if you're gonna have like double the exposure, double the footprint? No.
I don't know. I don't know how often something's going to die with 5 wounds that 6th wound would save you, that it also wouldn't have made you take more wounds because you have a bigger base. Do you know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah, I don't think it's worth it because it gives you more of an opportunity to be hit by a cannon, and I don't think that 1 wound's gonna help you.
I mean, a cannon only does D3 +1, so you can't get one shot by a cannon anymore. That's pretty sweet.
Yep. All right, Clan Lord looks relatively standard, except he's got a new special rule.
Yeah, so his core of the clan special rule says if the clan lord is your general, and as long as he's alive, all friendly clan vermins and vermin guard, which is the equivalent of the what do they call them? Storm. Man, how do I not remember any names?
Storm Vermin.
Storm vermin and just your regular clan rats. They can claim combat res from up to 4 ranks. So before it was capped at 3 ranks. And they always get minimum +3 leadership from Vermin Swarm, even if it usually cannot claim ranks.
Isn't the word vermin already plural? I'm serious. It's a real question.
Well, vermin might be a title.
Oh, okay. I'm like clan. Okay. Vermins. All right.
Yeah. There's I don't know if everyone that's writing these is like, not everyone that's writing this is an English. English might not be their first language. I know I found a lot of grammar and spelling mistakes reading through the main rule book.
Right.
But the good thing is that because it's not a printed version, if you find something, you can just tell them like, "Hey, I found a spelling mistake." They'll go, "No problem. I'm going to fix that," and they can just go in and change it because it's
Right.
PDF.
Okay.
Now, there's one thing about this that I am confused about. It's the always gains minimum +3 leadership from Vermin Swarm, even if it usually cannot claim ranks. Does that mean even if you have one rank, you're getting +3 leadership because it says minimum +3?
Always gains a minimum of +3. I don't think the word minimum belongs in there.
Yeah, you can't get more than +3.
Except now you can.
Can can you?
Well, you can claim. Oh no, so it's combat resolution plus
Combat
four.
res for 4 ranks, but always gains minimum +3 leadership.
I think it should be maximum.
But
I
it
think
already was maximum +3
right, but what
leadership.
I'm saying is it's not +4 leadership now. It's +3 leadership, but you can get +4 for what?
I I think it this one needs to be explained better because if it's always gets +3 leadership, then there's no reason to have the word minimum in there.
Well, what's combat resolution? You get +1 combat resolution for rank, right?
Yeah, for every rank past the first.
Okay, so if I've got 5 ranks and you have 5 ranks, I actually get one more than you
Yes.
because I'm allowed to actually have one more.
Yeah.
So I get +4, you get +3. Okay, but because my rank bonus is up to 4 instead of 3, that does not add +4 leadership. It stays at +3. I
Then
think
why would they say minimum?
I think
That
it's
should be
supposed
maximum.
I think it's supposed to be maximum.
Okay, that would make more sense.
Okay.
Always gains. But then it shouldn't be and always gains. It should be but still is capped at +3 leadership.
Yes.
I don't know. I think it's
Yes.
something that
I think that just needs to be reworded.
that
That's
should
all.
be should be posted.
So, I think the Warhammer I think the Warhammer Weekly's over because we just went from 0 viewers to 5.
Boom! Welcome Vince to the party.
All
So
right,
anyway,
so
for all you people that were watching Warhammer Weekly, we are the original Warhammer Weekly. It was our show, and I don't know what happened. I went to England, and when I came back, someone else had it. I assume we said it's cool.
yes, no, I we passed the torch
We,
along because I
I didn't. I
lost.
wasn't there for the torch passing.
Well, you went to another country, so
Yeah, I was on a pilgrimage to the motherland, and then
mhm,
Age of Sigmar happened.
yeah. You, you should have punched some people while you're over there. Actually,
I really wanted to. Actually, I'm going to say, um, I met a guy at Warhammer World, which is basically their flagship store. It's the headquarters, um, and when I went through their little, they've got a diorama section and like big, huge battles of like 50,000 points on the table. It's ridiculous. There's one had like 9 giants, all pushing siege weapons, with like 6 Arachnarok spiders, 40 trolls, and all attacking an Empire castle. And I was like, this is awesome. This is how I want my battles to look all the time. And after I went through the whole thing and I came out, I talked to an employee, and he was actually the diorama and model like painter for Warhammer World. And
really,
he's a really cool guy. His name is Joe. I don't know if I should say his last name. Joe Neighbor. Um, really nice guy, and he did a hell of a good job.
that's cool.
I actually added him on Facebook now and asked for pictures of updates.
That's cool. That's cool that you got to make a friend over there. So he's one of the good guys, I guess.
Yeah, not everyone's bad. They just don't know. Like they can't make a game that suits everyone, so they picked a group of people they thought they wanted to make things for. Whether that turns out to be beneficial and a good idea money wise for them is yet to be seen. I think it's too soon to say.
We'll see. All right. Pretty standard stuff. You got the giant rat, the 4-year-old rat for 125 points. People I've probably read this while they're sitting here watching, so
Yeah.
we can move on. All right, so we got the Grey Prophet, which is the old Grey Seer. Looks like he's a little bit cheaper. Looks like he
Is he always toughness
has.
4? He used to be toughness
Yes.
3, didn't he?
No, he was always toughness 4.
Yeah. Okay.
Pretty sure. He's honorless, and he could take from Ruin
Shadows
or
now.
Shadow, so he loses Plague.
Yes.
Doom Bell's 250 points. You could take up the 4 tokens for 10 each and 100 magic items. Okay. All right.
Yep. If he goes on the Doom Bell, he'll probably get that in a boost to Inspiring Presence.
Yes.
Me.
So we have got a Clan Chieftain, same points, same stats. Yes, good. Heavy armor, Vermin Swarm, honorless. Could be your BSB, 50
Yep.
points. Take a shield. Standard. It looks pretty good.
Can you go back to the? I don't want. You don't necessarily have to jump back to the Clan Lord, but it says may take shield, but it doesn't have a points involved.
May take shield for 2 points.
No, this is the Clan Chief, but the Clan Lord, it didn't say. It didn't say free, and it didn't have a number. So I guess I'm gonna circle that and bring it up at the same time I do the core of the clan.
Yep, so it looks like they're missing a points in there. So as you can see, it's a work in progress. All right, so Grey Apprentice, which is essentially a level 2 Grace here, huh?
New guy, yay! New model.
So
It
it's
doesn't have a model.
3 points, 5 points left for an upgrade to level 2.
Yeah, that's it's no longer like 35 points to upgrade a wizard level. It changes. It's basically a different cost for everyone that has an upgrade. It's not standardized.
Okay, so it depends on the army, depends on the race.
Yeah.
Okay. May purchase up to 2 Warpstone tokens and may take 50 points worth of magic items. Pretty simple. Strain Master, 75 points. This is old Beastmaster? Like 6th
It's
edition Beastmaster?
I'm not familiar with 6th edition, but we lost all of the leader of the pack masters, and pack masters and master molders are gone from the book. So this was introduced in lieu of that.
Okay. Yeah, so Packmaster or Beastmaster or whatever it was in 6th edition used to be a hero choice in this game book. So this is back from 6th edition.
Yep. So it's got Stainkin, which I'm sure is supposed to be Strainkin. If you join a unit of giant rats, you become a war beast for all purposes of being shot at. He's got regen 5 up. Swift Strider, I'm sure, is a typo as well. Greater Clan special rules. So this is one of the ones that says you can get +1 leadership and become the general. So he can be leadership 7, which is exactly what you want. So that's a 4. How many points is the upgrade? 10 points for like 85 points, you can get leadership 10 in your army.
Not bad.
He can also ride an augmented Vermin Lord, and the Vermin Lord has a rule that says someone mounting it becomes the same troop type as well.
Okay. Vermin Ogre, yes. Okay. Interesting. I'm just thinking about, would the 35-point weapon go on this guy? The 35 to be in the second
front rank.
Yeah, just put him in like a rat ogre swarm or like a giant rat swarm.
Potentially, but if it says he becomes, well, he should be monstrous cav, but for the purposes of being shot at, he would be monstrous infantry. So, or monstrous beast or whatever it is. So he'd still get 3 attacks based on the monstrous support rule. So he wouldn't lose any attacks. You could give him like a halberd, have him in the second rank of some rat ogres, and be hitting at strength 6. That'd be interesting.
It's cool he's got strength 5 standard, though.
Yeah.
This guy's pretty beasty.
So his weapon skill's 5. It's same as the clan chief, 1 lower than the clan lord. I mean, when you put him on that 60-point mount, he's now 135 points, and that's not that cheap anymore. That's like another 3 rat ogres.
Yeah. I don't know. The regeneration 5 plus is pretty decent. So for what this guy up here is 45 points. So for 30 points, you're getting a 5+ regen, an extra strength,
Swift stride.
swift stride. Yeah, he's cool. I like this guy. All right, you want to move on?
Yep,
All right, so your new engineer.
I like him.
Go
He's
ahead.
not like the old engineer. So the old engineer was basically kind of replaced by the Gray Apprentice because he used to be your cheap access to a level 1. Um, but the Warp Tech Machinist now is more of an engineer, less of a wizard. So he has to take an upgrade or one or more upgrades of these special rules here.
Well,
So,
let's look at his stat line first, quick.
okay, yeah.
It's way better than the engineer was. So weapon skill, ballistic skill, strength, and toughness across the board is 4 instead of 3s. And you have initiative 5.
Initiative 5 is, I think, probably the same as it was before.
No, initiative 4.
4?
I'm
Really?
pretty sure it was a slave rat, maybe a clan rat stat. Actually,
Okay.
maybe it wasn't. No, it was initiative 4, yeah, because he was clan rat stat.
Okay. Still has one attack base, but you can give this guy the Creator Clan special rule, make him leadership 7. He's got a couple weapon options, and what makes this guy unique is these special rules: the warp generator, exoskeleton, and warp flame projector. So in a way, you can kind of turn him into Ikit Claw, give him an exoskeleton for +1 strength, +1 attack, and innate defense 5 up, and ignores armor saves in close combat. So you can give him strength 5 and a halberd for strength 6, ignoring armor saves, and it's pretty neat. Um, Warp generator is similar to what the engineer was before. He becomes level 1 wizard, but has to know Black Lightning, which was old Warp Lightning. And then Warp Flame Projector is he basically gets a breath weapon, strength 4 flaming attacks, which is solid. It might be interesting to do like 3 Warp Tech Machinists because I think you're capped at 3 of the same model, same
Yes.
unit. So doing 3 with the strength 4 flaming attacks and just having like 66 breath weapon in one round of combat.
Sweet. Breath weapon is what now? Do you
It's
use
2d6, and as a ranged attack, it's like auto hit 2d6. No more flame template.
great. Okay. And it's 8-inch range.
Maybe.
Okay. Whatever. All right. So Death Runner is your new assassin.
Yep.
Clocking in what, 20 points cheaper?
Yep.
He has an extra hand weapon and some throwing weapons. Decent stat line. Ballistic skill 5. Did he always have ballistic skill 5? Yes, right?
Yeah. At least 5, I think. Maybe I'm thinking of Snitch. That was 6 or something.
Well, Gutter Runners had 4, so hopefully the assassin had 5. But either way, this is what you have now is 5. Nice initiative 8. He cannot be your leader. Can he be your leader?
He can be your leader.
Okay.
He normally, I think, has the. Does he not have the not a leader? I thought he'd have not a leader. So he doesn't, but you can give him the Greater Clan special rule, make him have leadership 8, and
Be sensei.
be your general. Yeah, but that rule says he can only give his inspiring presence 2 units of Night Runners, which are now Front Runners, and Gutter Runners, which are now Dusk Runners. So you can make a very themed assassin list with inspiring presence 18 inches to just those guys. And there's a lot of like front runners they're better. They've got Vanguard. They've got I don't know. It'd be interesting to see if it could work. I'm not sold on the fact that it could, but
Okay.
it'd be interesting to see.
All right. Let's I guess let's back up. He has lethal strike, which is the new
Killing blow.
Okay. And does it work exactly like killing blow, or
It's if you roll a 6 to wound, I think it's ordnance. I'm not sure.
okay? All right. And then for
Attacks.
20 points, you can give him D3 multiple wounds. So this could be like he used to be a character killer. You can give him the double strength thing, right?
Okay, so Yeah, you would be able to give him the double strength. I want to correct myself. Lethal strike. It's not an auto kill. It's no armor saves and no regen. So probably that wound is going through, but it's not a guarantee. It could have a ward.
Okay. 15 points gives him scout and ambush. So you get to choose between that. So I guess that's where you'd make up the points with him dropping from 120 to 100.
Yeah, but he's already got the hidden rule. So if you wanted him to scout or ambush, you could just have him hide in a scouting or ambushing unit and save yourself 15 points.
This is true. Okay. Yeah. I think this guy would be good for leading a flank assault. Because if he can give his leadership to nearby front runners and dusk runners, having them ambush or scout in or just take up a flank would be pretty cool.
Yeah, only if he's the general though. So he doesn't just give his inspiring presence all the time. But
Oh, you're right. Okay.
you could make an army around the fact. Like I know Wood Elves had a crazy army running where they practically deployed nothing in this 8th edition, and you could do a very similar thing. I think with this, your front runners have to be deployed, but dusk runners I think can ambush, and this guy can ambush. You can have most of your army just kind of pop up around them.
Right. That's cool. We'll move on to Blight Priest here.
Yep.
So he's your new Plague Priest. You can take Path of Disease. He could be. Oh, wow. I'm very happy about this. Interesting. So I saw him at 70 points. So I was trying to
Yep.
figure out why he was so cheap, and it's because he doesn't come as a level 1 caster. So you can
Right.
make him as a Plague Priest combat guy.
Yep.
So if you
This
bring
adds
in.
up a lot.
Yeah, that's really cool. So you can make him a caster whether you want to or not. Because often I would bring him just for his fighty ability and not go crazy about his casting abilities.
Yeah,
Uh,
whenever I put him on the plague furnace, I was always under the assumption that he was not going to cast much because the plague spells generally had a really low range, and my idea was to get him into combat. So I can now avoid all of that need to spend that extra 35 points. Basically, that cost is pulled out of him.
right.
Plus, now he gets hatred.
But these guys no longer have frenzy, correct?
Ooh, did we lose frenzy and gain hatred?
Is frenzy still a rule in the game though? That I don't know off the top of my head. I don't know if frenzy is still a ninth age rule. I'm assuming it would be. I don't know why they'd get rid of it.
Oh man! Now that you got like no attacks, you only have 2 attacks each instead of 3. Sorry, I'm jumping ahead. Yeah, they don't have frenzy.
I don't know if that was a oversight or not.
I'm sure they decided to give hatred instead of it. Like you can't just ignore that factor. But it's a shame.
Unless
But it
unless
is what it
the
is.
unless the furnace gives them frenzy. I haven't looked that far ahead. We'll have to look. Okay, so at this point, I'm sure you've read all this, so we can move on. Core, you got your clan vermin. Now, I'm sure you guys might have noticed at this point the books come with a base point value for the unit, and then you add points per model. So you start at 20 at 100 points, and then you add up to 50, 5 points a model.
Yeah. So our clan vermin or old clan rats, they can now go up to 70 models. I know I can't take my units of 100 anymore, just like Malorian. I'm kind of upset about that, but it'll be fine. They come base with a shield now, so before that was an option. And you can swap for spears for free. Spears are a little bit different than in 8th edition. They now give lethal strike against cavalry, monsters cav, and chariots that are attacking you in the front, as well as the +1 attack and extra ranks.
So that makes spearmen relevant again and makes cavalry very strategic in use for flanking and rear charging.
Yeah. Champion, musician, standard bearer are 10 points each. I feel like that wasn't the cost before.
No, because it went under the old 6th edition mentality that you would pay respective to how expensive the unit is.
Yeah.
And points wise, so it was like 4 points, and 2 points, something real cheap like that.
Yeah.
So it was like 10 points alone to have, a 3 command, but
Yeah, I'm gonna miss my slave 2-point musicians.
yeah. So, Vermin Guard, your Storm Vermin. pretty standard and same across the board. I don't see any changes whatsoever, minus the fact that, oh, nope, the halberd's there. So, yeah. So does Ninth Age say that you have to use a special weapon if you have it?
Yes,
Or okay,
there's a special rule that some people have, like the Black Orcs, that it's called Weapon Master. In which case, you can pick which mundane weapon you want to use.
okay.
You have one, you got to use it. So again, they're stuck with a 5-up armor save while in combat.
Now notice though, hand weapon is no longer a listed item.
That's everyone's got a hand weapon.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, so we can move on. Warp Tech team, 2 wounds. They lurk amongst the unit, which is normal. I don't think anything is different here. They're still on a cav base. They're insignificant, which I don't think they were before. I think if you killed a weapons team, actually, I don't think they caused panic, right?
I thought I played that they did, but maybe they didn't have to.
I know they had a little page with the rules. So either way,
Yeah.
it's clear that if they die, they don't cause the parent unit to panic.
So they lose their 4+ ward save while within 3 inches.
Mhm.
Now they just get hard cover.
Interesting. Well, that's fine. You're paying a lot less for them now, 50 points. Underlings are your slaves. So they
So
are.
they're capped at 50 now, which is a big change, and their price went up.
Their price went up for the first 20.
Yes,
So the first
2.5
20 are
points for the first 20.
okay, which is fine. Whatever. They don't.
And then the musician's more expensive. You can't get any upgrades. You can't give them slings. You can't give them spears.
That's how it should be.
Yeah,
I miss it.
I don't know.
I miss it. Yes, I miss the spears and I miss all the crap that you can give them. But you know what? It's it's
I mean,
way
most of the time, I never gave them the upgrades. Like, I wouldn't give them spears or slings, but
it's
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 just kind of like
relevant.
you don't like when things are taken away.
But it's
Even if you didn't use it, if someone came by and you weren't playing with your toy, like when you were a kid, you have 2 toys in front of you, you're playing with one. Someone comes and tries to take the toy you're not playing with, and you're like, no, it's mine.
right.
It's just, I don't like losing things.
Well, I think it's needed though. Why do you think they took spears away?
Because giving these guys killing blow might be too much.
Yeah, for 50 points, I'd have 3 of these on each flank, just as a half circle, just ready to take any cavalry on.
So they used to have a cornered rat special rule that when they broke, they did damage. They don't do that anymore. They just immediately destroyed, which is fine as well. That, I mean, it never did damage. It was more likely to hurt my own units because everything else was resistant to tough or strength 3 attacks. So it was just another like 3 rolls that you don't have to do anymore.
That's good. Simplifies it. So front runners are your old night runners. I like night runners in 6th edition because they were skirmish and look,
Skirmishers.
skirmishers. They got rid of slinking advance, so they're vanguard now, which gets them a little bit further in. They come with hand weapons and they cannot take slings. What?
Can't take slings, but they have throwing weapons.
They always had throwing weapons.
I'm just saying they still have a ranged attack.
I know, but I think slings were so good with them. I used
The
to.
slings are better. They probably got rid of it because you have an option now for poison attacks. If you had poison attacks, slings, and core,
Right.
plus you like gutter runners with slings and poison were amazing. And I almost had them every list just because I like the idea that I could pop up, just kill a war machine.
Right. Well, these guys are interesting. So what's new about skirmish? Because I don't know what the new skirmish special rules are.
Skirmish is pretty much the same. Some of the rules for like fast cav and skirmishers, where they could fire on the march and stuff, got renamed, but I think it's still all included with the skirmish rule. So we still have free reform, and shooting at them is -1 to hit.
Okay. All right. All right. That's fine. I'm just distracted because I just am now saying that monks are in core.
Ooh, that is new. I didn't even notice that.
All right, so I'll trade Frenzy for core toughness 4 rats.
With hatred?
Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough. You can still take units of 60, so that's a lot.
All right.
They start at 15. That's weird. Units of 15.
So how many points do they model the first 15? I have to do math.
6.
6. Okay, so that's a point cheaper. So they're cheaper at initial cost. Okay.
They can only take a magic banner worth up to 25 now. But their core.
Interesting. Very interesting.
So 2 attacks each, and we now have access to Lore of Shadows.
Hmm. I'm very happy about this. Monks and core, and runners being skirmish again. This is interesting.
Now, front runners have Reckless, I want to add, so they can shoot into combat with infantry.
Yes,
So you could be shooting poison throwing weapons into infantry.
which is cool. And they do have vermin swarms.
Yes,
Does that
but
apply to
they are
vermin?
skirmishers.
So they don't get the +3, right?
Yeah, I don't. I think they shouldn't.
I don't think
They
skirmish
might.
gets
They might.
rank bonus.
Is it still? Is it rank bonus for Vermin Swarm? No, it used to be rank bonus, but
Um, Number of full ranks. Do they have? Are they? So they might still get it because a
if this
rank,
is number of full ranks, then it's definitely not the same.
right? So they may be entitled to it. That's
Cool.
cool. Giant rodents. Oh well, do we want to? So it looks like they had a rule that they deleted. So I don't know if they're going to add this back or not. Toxic attacks get +1 to wound. So
On enemy units in contact with a unit of blight monks. That was probably too good.
yeah,
Now I'm in the main rules and I'm reading the skirmisher rules, and I'm not seeing anything about them not being able to claim rank bonus. It might be in the rank bonus section, but
all right. So that's worth investigating. Giant rats, you can't do rat darts anymore. At least cheap and efficiently. 50 points is still cheap, but they're 10. Handlers, the unit may always perform a swift reform with no leadership test required. So that's cool. I guess you don't purchase the handlers separately. I guess you could just have a model in there representing them or not. They fight in an
yeah, I
extra
mean
rank.
we still have pack master models, so whether we decide to use them as a strain master model or just have them with the unit of giant rats, it doesn't. I don't think it matters too much. This we couldn't do swift reforms before.
Because there was no musician.
Yeah, so
But
this is
but you didn't have to because a small dart can wheel around like it's no one's business.
it's not as good as a swift reform though.
No.
It's so this is a clearly better, but it's a unit of 10 redirectors.
Do you notice what else makes them really, really good?
Makes them really, really good.
Or just better?
What makes them better?
They're not movement 6.
Ooh. Strain Master's only movement 6 though.
So maybe he slows them down.
Oh, that would suck. Oh, that would suck. But yeah, he is only movement 6. So now we can have marching. Yeah, that's. I think they got way better. I mean, they're more expensive, but there's more of them. They're faster, and they can move around better.
Yeah. So they're
Like
4.
they're still smaller than a unit of fast cav.
Right. So what? They're 5 points in model base and then 3 after?
Yeah.
Huh. Yeah. There's so many choices in core right now.
Is there any option? Is it reasonable to do a unit of 50?
I used to.
I know I've done it in the past as a kind of just like, haha, look at all the rats I have.
No, 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 it's not
They've
a
got quite
haha.
an extra rank now.
No, I used to always do it because then you would have horde attacks, so you'd have 40 attacks.
Yeah.
I mean, now they're not as cheap, but I used to throw them up against like savage orcs who are gonna rip them to shreds. But I go down with 50 attacks
They're only 120, 170 points for 50 models with fight and extra rank and horde, and can sweep
against
freeform all the time.
other weapon skill 3, toughness 3 units. They're fine.
Yeah, that's real cheap.
All right, on to some special. Got 20-point Giselles.
5 Giselles, not 3 Giselles.
Yep, you get to spend 100 points, but I think they're better now, so I would actually use them. I would have liked it if they were insignificant, but they're not.
Yeah,
Globadiers, they are
they don't
what?
really have any protection against. It's just they don't have that much protection anymore. There's no like hard cover. Didn't they used to get cover musket teams?
They had the shield, which was like a
Have
four.
this special rule.
Yeah, it was like a 5 or 4 plus ward save. Oh, armor save. But now they've got a 4 plus ward save. I'm
Didn't
sorry,
they count in cover?
4 plus armor save. No, they didn't count as cover.
Okay,
It's just
never mind
armor.
then.
So the Globadiers, they are. Sorry, it's too late for me to do math. How many points are they each here?
15?
Okay, yes, 15 points each. All right, and it's 15 for additional.
And the ballistic skill 4.
Yes, that's huge.
And wound on 4 plus.
And it's multiple. Yeah, these
Multiple
guys
shot
are
2.
these guys are 5 points more expensive a model, but they're definitely more effective in combat. I'm sorry, in battle. I don't think they can throw in combat anymore,
They still have the reckless rule.
but they can't throw in combat.
Oh, while they're in combat. Yes, yes, yes.
If you used to have 10 of them, they'd be throwing from the second rank.
Yeah.
Which was always cool and funky. I like them.
They're skirmishers. Were they skirmishers before?
Yes.
Okay. So the same idea. You've got another option of a skirmishing unit that gets to throw into combat. So it might be interesting if you can actually make that work. But I'm not sure. I feel like the reckless rule it's fluffy. Wow, I'm really close to my.
Yeah, I don't know
screen
why.
almost. It's like, did it find me?
Your
Whoa!
your camera zooms in.
I don't like that. Turn off. Don't do that.
Um,
Um,
these guys are great at throwing up against cavalry because if you're going to have counter shot of blitzing skill 4 with quick to fire and multiple shots too, these things are awesome.
Yeah, wound on a 4 plus, no armor saves.
Yeah, 2 shots.
Bunch of speed bumps of grenadiers.
Yeah, I think I would be taking these guys over rat darts. I mean, expensive at 75, but whatever.
I feel like they're too valuable to be used in the same way the rat darts were.
I still think unless they have
Like,
I mean,
why would you? Like, I understand the idea of road blocking. So you move up, you get your shots, you get to take the stand and shoot. But if you had something else take the charge, you can just keep shooting.
there's nothing that cheap anymore though. A rat dart is 50 points minimum. Yeah, it's 10
So it's
guys.
25 points less.
Yeah, but you know what? 10 giant rats are going to be less combat effective or less shooting effective as these guys. At that point, I would spend the extra 25 points for less models but more combat effectiveness.
It'll be
Bitch.
cool to see how it plays. What? Did you say bitch? It'll be neat to see how it plays out. I like them. I like higher ballistic skill. I think they definitely improved. I can't wait to see them on the table.
Me too.
Trying
All right.
Trying to keep the arguments down.
Man, I might play Warhammer tomorrow.
Yeah, you will.
All right, Vermin Ogres, 40 points.
Region 5 up. Yes.
That's pretty awesome.
No frenzy.
So you could have the 12, which is cool. I guess you could do something.
No hordes. I haven't seen anything that can take hordes of monstrous infantry anymore. I mean, I haven't checked the ogre book, but like trolls are capped much less than 18.
Right.
And I don't love that, but it's Like it's taking away options that were there. It's not necessarily maybe having hordes of trolls like Malorian did all the time wasn't good for the game. So we'll see how that goes.
No comment. Um, oh my gosh. You know what I just realized? There isn't. So what's the champion rule? Is champion rule just +1 attack?
Champions get +1 weapon skill, ballistic skill, and attack, I think. Plus, they have a special rule that when you charge, no matter what you roll, you can count at least a 4 on the dice.
Interesting.
So,
All
like
right.
these, for example, these vermin ogres, while their charges would be 10 inches, if they take that champion, 10 inches they will make every time.
All,
Because,
all from having a champion.
yeah, champions are auto include. For anything that you want to charge, I think they're auto include because there's too many times that like you fuck up, roll 2 1s, a 1 and a 2, and you fail your charge and it throws a game.
I really like that because that really increases your control of units. Because I hated the whole snake eyes. You move 5 inches bullshit.
It's like much less than that. You move the highest of the 2 dice, you move an inch.
Um. Oh yeah, it wasn't. You didn't even add your move. That's right.
No.
So stupid.
I mean, I've heard good things, I've heard bad things. For people that liked the fact that you always knew how much you were going to charge in the past, they'll like this. For people that like the idea that, well, if that made the game too silly in that you're playing like a 13-inch dance around, then they might not like that as much. But I think it's a good change.
No, but this brings the best of both worlds.
Yes, yeah, or a happy medium in between.
Right. Hmm.
So immune to psych, they lost frenzy, so they are down 1 attack. They've got regen 5 up, which is awesome. They're what are they? Cheaper.
No, they were always 40 points.
Were they?
Hmm.
All right. But you can upgrade to have armor piercing. Do you need strength 5 armor piercing?
Yes.
Probably.
Yes.
Fifth stride, yeah. So you're kind of looking at like 10 or 50 points a model instead.
Right. So the champion is actually pretty cool with Swift Stride. Then, now that I learned the rules a little bit.
Well, if you take Swift Stride, it might not be worth taking the champion. Because if you're rolling 3 dice, discard the lowest, you got a good chance of rolling that at least a 4, which would be the same as having the champion.
I'd have
It's
to run the. I'd
it's
have to run the
insurance.
math. Yeah, I'd have to sit down and run the math on that. All right. So these
These are
are.
the end times guys.
They were included. Interesting.
Yep.
So they're 200 points, which is what 66 points each.
Yep.
Plus
And then
55 for
cheaper
each
for the next
additional.
3.
Yeah. Um, there's a bunch of rules.
Yeah, these guys were complicated to start with, and I think even trying to simplify it would be tricky. So they've got 3 weapon options now, same as the other guys. These are Gatling gun, warp flamethrower, noxious mortar. So you still have your 3 ranged options. They didn't take anything away there. But now, if you don't have those, um, the models with close range assault weapons gain impact hits D6 and replace their normal attacks with grinding attacks D6. Supporting attacks made by these models are also replaced with grinding attacks D6. All impact hits and grinding attacks are resolved at strength 4 and have armor piercing 1. So before there used to be kind of 3 special close combat things, like you could have the drill that lets you get in. Oh yeah, we lost the drill.
That's okay. Who used it?
No, I didn't, but it was a thing. Plus the guy that was kind of like a Doom Flayer and the guy that was like shock punches. But they got regen 5 up and 5 up armor save. They are not skirmishers anymore.
Hmm.
And it says in the shooting phase, 1 model in the unit may fire 1 of its weapons. So I guess they all come with all of the weapons?
Yeah, I guess they're pretty versatile.
Whoa.
So it's essentially a weapons team and a rat ogre. Or 3 rat ogres and a weapons team.
That's
Or,
pretty weird. So they have Gatling gun, warp flamethrower, noxious mortar, not as options. They each warp tech vermin ogre has those three things, plus close range assault weapons. Special rule.
mm-hmm.
So they have D6 impact hits, plus D6 grind attacks instead of their. Could be interesting.
They don't have
Grind
skirmish. They're not
attacks.
skirmish
Grind
though.
attacks hit automatically.
The other unit was skirmish, right?
Yeah.
You know what? These guys will be fun to mess around with.
Yeah, they look like they're pretty strong, but they're still pretty vulnerable. I mean, toughness 4, 4 wounds, 5 up, 5 up. Well, we'll see. I mean, I have them, so I'm going to use them.
Yeah, me too. All right, so night runners or gutter runners. They seem to be 11 points each here.
Yeah.
So they come with throwing weapons, additional hand weapons. They can take slings, which is good. It looks like slings are a bit cheaper. They could take tail weapons if you want to get them into combat. They have poison attacks.
Making poison attacks, yeah.
Yes. So if you go, so does the tail weapon get the poison though? Yes, right?
The tail weapon says if you're using mundane weapons, you get an extra attack. So with additional hand weapon and tail weapons, you would have 3 attacks in close combat.
With poison.
Yeah, the tail weapon doesn't. It's not its own attack anymore. It now says basically you get +1 attack if you're using mundane weapons.
Okay.
Oh man, it's expensive to make them as having like an ambush and stuff.
You'll have to play around with what works and what doesn't.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to crunch the numbers on how expensive them. Because what was it, like 100, 170
Yeah.
for like 15 poison sling guys?
Something like that.
And how many can we can only have up to 12 now in the unit. That's not a big problem. You lose 3 guys. They used to be capped at 15. Now they're capped at 12.
Right. Okay. Poison's cheaper though. It used to be 5 points for poison. Slings
But
used
now
to be
you have
2
to pay
points.
for scout and ambush.
So you have to figure out what's important to you.
Ambush. Ambush, poison, slings. It's all important. I know what you're talking about. So look at the grinding attacks because I couldn't remember it. It says models with this special rule can make a special close combat attack at its own initiative against a single enemy unit in base contact. This attack deals a number of hits equal to the value stated with brackets, so that would be d6. These automatically hit and have a strength equal to the model's own strength. Grinding attacks never benefit from any equipment or special rules. The model may have, since they are special attacks, if a model has both grinding attacks and impact hits, it may only use one of these rules in the same combat phase. So we can show up impact hits, and then the next one grind.
Okay. You're talking about the big guys, right?
Yeah, the vermin. What are they? Tech vermin, super
Right.
guy, blah blah blah. Warp tech vermin overs.
If you want 9 dusk runners, I'm sorry, if you want 12 dusk runners with poison attacks, scout and ambush, and slings, if I did the math correctly, it comes out to 190.
So they went up in price for 3 less guys.
Yeah, but I mean they were too good to begin with. Let's face it.
Yeah. Well, that's I don't think they were too good. I think they were as good as they needed to be.
Actually, nope. These guys suck now. Look what they lost. They don't have their defensive capabilities anymore.
They have skirmishing still. They don't have a 6+ ward save.
They lose the 6+ ward save.
Well, ultimately,
6+ ward save was worth it.
I never had a lot of success when they got attacked, whether it was from shooting or elsewise, like in close combat.
Right, but if you're paying more for less,
well, like you said, they were too good before.
Right, that's before I realized they lost the ward save.
I feel like they lost something else too, but I can't figure it.
Well, you can't. You don't have the nets anymore. The snare nets aren't an option.
Snare nets was an option, yeah.
And the champion had a whole lot of options that he doesn't have anymore.
Yeah, he could take like infernal bombs and shit.
Like weaving blades.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
All right, rat swarms are same and stupid.
Yeah, swarms are swarms. Okay, holy shit, we only made it to rare now. There's so much to talk about. It's just because I haven't got to talk to you for a while. That's why I'm just keep rambling on.
That's fine. Yeah, go for this one.
Okay, Dreadmill is the old Doom Wheel. Innate defense 4 plus, so I think it had a 4 plus armor save before. Still considered a chariot. Still has its pulling beasts with a bunch of random attacks. It's got large target. Did it have that before?
I don't think so. Yeah, maybe. Who knows? Probably.
So it used to have d6 plus 1 impact hits. Now it probably lost. Oh, it's got scythe, so it still has d6 plus 1. It's got d3 grinding attacks, random movement 3d6, and the random attacks 2d6. So it's the same shitty rats attacking when they get in there. D3 grinds. Is that how many it did before?
Did D3 grind at the start of
After the first round of combat?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So that's the same.
I don't think it was D3 multiple wounds though. That's new.
It doesn't have multiple wounds. What? No, no. Electric discharge is different than grinding attacks.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm looking at random movement.
Yeah. No. Electric discharge was the old zap. Used to have an 18-inch range and hit whatever. So this doesn't say you have to shoot it every time, and it doesn't say you have to try to restrain. So in the first couple of turns, when you basically had to have a unit beside your Doom Wheel that was going to take a couple hits before it got to any enemies, you don't have to worry about that anymore.
Okay.
It used to do 3 shots, now it does D3 shots, which is kind of disappointing. And it used to do D6 wounds, now it does D3 wounds, which again is disappointing. But strength is 10. Before, the strength was determined by rolling the artillery dice. So that's pretty sweet.
Okay.
Losing d6 wounds is not that great, but being strength 10 all the time, even with the decreased range of the shot, is pretty good. Slow to fire, can't stand and shoot. Oh. So now it's just a straight up shooting attack now. But you don't have to roll to hit. Warp discharge can shoot 360, automatically hits. If a natural 6 comes up, you have to take the warp weapon misfire chart. I might like it better now.
I think it's all right.
Yeah, it's strength 10. D3
Yeah.
shots. I like strength 10.
I think it's good.
Ooh, what's that? So you can. Ooh, it's a 1 in 3 chance of misfiring.
For what?
Sorry, 1 in 6 chance of misfiring for the Dreadmill. I don't like that. So you can never. Oh. The attacks are lost and the model must roll. So you're only going to get 3 shots if you roll a 5. If you roll a 6, it's fucked.
Right.
I don't know. I don't like that part of it. We'll see if it still works. I mean, Skaven or Vermin Swarm, I guess they tried to keep you still the fact that you're going to blow up a lot.
That's fine.
We're used to it.
Warp cannon.
So the war machines apparently now are on round bases.
I don't know.
That's what it says. War machine, 75mm round base.
Oh, yeah, I'm okay with that.
100 points. That's what it was before, I think. 90 points before.
90 points, yep.
10 points more. Strength is now 2d6 rather than artillery dice. Armor piercing 6, so that's the same. No armor saves. It's got lightning attacks, which is its own special rule. I think it's something that if you hit flying models, they take d6 strength 4 hits.
Okay.
Multiple wounds ordnance, so same as other cannons, d3 plus 1. And the misfire table. And if you roll a... So the cannonball does not reduce its strength after impact. That's a kind of similar thing than before. It never lost its strength. It just did its whole distance. If an 11 or more is rolled, the cannon fires at strength 10. And the cannonball is not stopped if it fails to kill a model, which is what it used to do. It used to just hit everything, plus a small template at the end. So we lost our small template, which is pretty big.
It was broken.
It was broken. It was 90 points. It was ridiculous. It was 2 in every list. But yeah, it's still a good cannon. It's still
fair.
A good cannon.
Random strength is fine, I guess. At least it's random strength, not on the artillery die. Wait,
Yeah.
does this have a misfire? Yes.
Yeah, it
So
would
wait,
be a misfire based on the fact that cannons now scatter. That's where it will come in.
okay, all right. We've got the catapult, which is kind of standard. So I guess the last thing we have right here is the Hell Pit Abomination.
Yeah, I probably should have looked at this more because I haven't really read it. It was so good. It was amazing. Help It was the greatest thing in the world, and it doesn't come back anymore.
I'm fine with that. It drops 25 points. It has random move 3d6 still, random attacks, which is cool.
Yeah, so it's basically one of the rules was always like there's three possible attacks for the old Hell Pit. One was speed, which hit everyone nearby, strength 6, and like no armor saves. Um, Everyone in base contact with it. Random attacks, 3d6 was one of the options, and then the other one was 2d6 automatic hits. That was my favorite one, and that's gone, but that's fine. He still has lost impact hits. That's pretty big.
Do random movers have impact hits standard?
I don't think so. Monster has Stomp D6 standard. I don't think random movement has impact hit standard because go up to the Doom Wheel.
Well, look, he's immune to psych now.
He's immune to Psych and has Stubborn. Do you have Stubborn before?
Um,
I think
yes,
he did.
he always had stubborn, but
His lower leadership.
immune to why isn't he just unbreakable? If he's now immune to psych, what am I looking at?
I wanted you to look at the Doom Wheel to see if it had impact hits, but it was a Chariot, which does have impact hits, so it's redundant. Okay, so for every you can get to magical attacks and magic resistance 3. So it didn't used to be magic resistance 3. It was just magic resistance 1. But this is much more expensive than the old cost for the upgrade. Wasn't it?
It was like 15 points. So now it's
Yeah.
double for more magic res.
So you'll have a if someone's hitting you with flaming attacks, you get a 4+ ward save. If they don't hit you with flaming attacks, you have a 4+ regen.
Right.
Right. That's all right. Toxic retaliation. For every unsaved wound the vermin horror breed suffers during the close combat phase, it inflicts D3 toxic hits to the unit causing the wound. So if it gets in there and dies in close combat, that means it would have done 6 D3 toxic hits to the unit that attacked it.
It makes the unit bleed no matter how you look at it.
Yeah. It's only weapon skill 3. But strength 6 is awesome.
I don't think it's as good now. Although
Definitely not.
my buddy was saying it's good, if not better. But the thing is, though, random attacks, you're going 3.5, 7, 10.5. So let's say you're getting 11 attacks. You're still weapon skill 3, so half of them are going to miss.
Yeah, and you lost impact hits. It's definitely not as good.
Right. I agree. But you know what? He for 210 points or 220 points, you still bring
It's
him.
a good monster. It's not as good. But that's expected because it was borderline arguably broken.
Yes.
And I'm
It's
saying
fair
borderline arguably because I used it. And if I use things, they're not broken. But if someone else used it, it would be broken.
bitch. Yes. Okay.
So the giant blight rat, we lost the option to take the little rat mount, which was shitty. And now we can take the Forge World monster. And it's a monstrous beast, which makes you monstrous cav if you ride it.
Mm-hmm.
It's got reckless, which and hatred, which is kind of interesting, and regen 4+. So that means I think if you ride it, you get regen 4+.
Interesting. Okay.
And then breath weapon toxic attacks. So that's 2d6, strength 3, no armor saves.
Or you can shoot it.
Yeah, or you can shoot it. It's a 6-inch range then, and it's reckless, so you could shoot into combat if you wanted to.
And it's still one use only.
Yes, once
Okay.
per game.
So Doombell provides some options now.
Does it? I don't see any options.
This is to me technically options.
Oh yes, okay, or yeah, Yeah, it's still 200 points. It will still give you a 4+ ward save. It still has magic resistance too. It's stubborn now rather than unbreakable though, which is a pretty big difference.
That's a fair change.
Can only join clan warriors units or vermin guards units. Clan warriors is not a thing. I'm gonna have to circle that. They mean vermin whatevers.
Right, and Vermin guards.
So
Okay.
we can have a big unit of stubborn storm
Yeah,
vermin.
you could have used to have an unbreakable unit, but now it's stubborn.
Yeah, I'm still looking at what I can make.
Right.
Okay, so sounding the bell. This thing used to be its whole like a whole giant page. Now it's half a page. It was 2 pages before even.
Hmm.
About how to push it, how to move it. So it's simplifying. There used to be rule 3d6, and it went up to 18 on the sounding the bell thing. So it's way less. Okay, so a 3 to 5, one friendly unit within 12 inches instantly makes a d6 magical move, or all friendly units within 36 inches of the Doom Bell can immediately make a rally attempt. So that's very situational. If you don't have anything that needs to make a rally, you'll do your move. If you want to rally some stuff, that's fine. It's okay.
6 to 8, one friendly unit within 12 inches of the Doom Bell cause fear until the start of your next magic phase, or the Great Prophet gets +1 to cast during the phase. I think since it's more casting smaller spells, this might be more worth it. But I don't know what fear does
Have a
now if it
plus.
changed.
Yeah, I'm just checking fear. All enemy units in base contact with one or more models with the special rule suffer a -1 leadership modifier.
Oh, actually, that's good. It's no longer combat; it's more about leadership.
But you have to be in contact with them.
That's
It's
fine.
not. It's you won't screw up in. No, it's the same old fear, but there's also -1 leadership.
Oh,
So at the start of each combat, units in base contact must take a leadership test. If it's failed, the weapon skill is reduced to 1 for the remainder of the combat phase.
okay.
So fear's better.
9 to 11, one unit within 12 inches gets lightning reflexes, or you can do D3 wounds to a toughness 7 model that's a chariot, war machine, or platform. That's cool.
Unlimited range. Okay.
Yeah. So that's like the old thing, except it's just one unit.
Yeah, rather than everything a toughness 7 or more.
Dude, Brawler's Bash, I got that against a dwarf player, and half of his war machines died.
You're so good at being a general.
Ooh.
What was the other one? Lightning reflexes. So that's +1 to hit. That's nothing to sneeze at. That involves something needing to be in combat, though. But so again, these are all situational and useful.
Mm-hmm.
So if one's not useful, the other one will be useful. I like that. It doesn't feel like anything's wasted there,
Right.
unless they don't have anything toughness 7, I guess.
Gotcha.
Okay, Clan Lord Warthrone. This is the old war litter, and it's great. Natural armor means you get +1 armor. It's different than barding because barding's +1 armor but -1 move. So you get +1 for being mounted, +1 for natural armor. Plus inspiring presence is extended by 6 inches, so it's 18-inch inspiring presence.
Yeah.
I like it. Still good.
All right. Vermin Ogre.
So Vermin Ogre, it's monstrous beast, so you would become monstrous cavalry, which means you use the highest toughness and wounds characteristic. So if you take this augmented Vermin Ogre, you get to have 4 wounds. I mean, it still does its decent attacks, it's good high strength, and you've got pack leaders. So if you're on a Vermin Ogre in a unit of Vermin Ogres, you count as being monstrous infantry for being shot at. So I don't know. It's you have some protection compared to before. If you put a guy if you put a warlord on the Bonebreaker in a unit of rat ogres, you would get hit by a cannon. You get no lookout, sir.
Right. Okay. I like it. It works.
Yeah, it's like 60 points though. So I mean, yeah, I think it's 60 points, and the Strain Master can ride that thing too.
Oh, that's different. That's new.
Well, the Strain Master is new. Okay, Blight Furnace. The old Plague Furnace with like a million special rules has been simplified. Gives MR2, 4+ ward save, just like the Bell. Stubborn, Terror. I don't think the other one gave Terror.
They both did, yes.
They both did Terror? Okay. And then the crew have Hatred. They're immune to Psychology and can only join the Blight Monks, but Blight Monks are core now, which is sweet. If the priest that's riding it is a wizard, he gets Pathmaster. So I think that's solid. So you'll always get the spells you want. So I think that's good. It did nothing to help your casting before. Now you get to pick your spells. Because I don't know how many times I got stuck with like stupid
Pestilent breath.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
D6 or 2d6 grinding attacks,
That's good. I like that.
but it lost like the fuming thing and the wrecker attack and the chance to give all your guys get to make an extra round of attacks.
Right. It's simplified though. It's streamlined.
Yeah, it's yeah, you said it, it's simplified.
All right. Well, that's
That's
the
it.
end of it, right?
We
So
did it.
nice reference sheet. Took us only 2 hours. Um, yeah. So any other comments or anything else before we finish this up?
I figure we should probably go with everyone does the winners and the losers, like what's clearly better, what's been the most nerfed, what's been the most buffed. So I mean the clear winner of this book is having a couple new heroes and being able to make them leadership 7 in generals. I think that's great for just making the list you want to make and having fun. In terms of getting better, like what's now awesome.
I think I like the fact that you can make a themed army based on the fact that plague monks are in core.
Yeah.
And night runners are viable. So you can actually use the different factions or whatever to your liking.
Well, Night Runners were a never include. Now they're a skirmishing unit in core with ranged weapons that could be poison. It's now an option. Like I don't know in Lizardmen, I took skinks with poison attacks and skirmishing. I mean, these guys will be more expensive than those skinks, but I think they're also a little bit better in combat too.
Right. You could go slaves as core and then just the night runners and just forget storm vermin and clan rats because you could choke people up with slaves and then do stupid running around bullshit.
Yeah, but you can choke people up even better with the clan rats.
Yeah, but they're more. Well, is this still a game of min core? Is this a game of min core still?
Depends. It might be something like what do we have outside of core? We used to max rare. Do we still want to max rare? Definitely. Between the cannons and the nerfed hell pit, I still want all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Special. Special has no points limit anymore, so yeah, it's still going to be min core, I think. Do we talk about the Disciples of Blight?
No, I just realized that.
Yeah.
How did I miss them? I was just thinking about them. They're not.
Yeah. They're plague sensor bearers. They have hatred, frenzy, and skirmishing.
Oh, they actually have frenzy.
Yeah. So that's where frenzy went. But still, that's So they're 2 attacks at strength 5 plus 1 toxic attack.
Eh,
They need to be like stubborn or something.
well, they can use the leadership value of. Well, they used to be stubborn, right?
Yeah, I think so.
You can
They
use
used
the
to be
leadership.
stubborn or unbreakable if they were with near the furnace, weren't they?
Yes.
Yeah. So I mean, they got a little bit worse, and they
They
weren't
can,
that good to start with.
yeah, but the thing is, though, if monks are in core and you decide to go core monks, then you can actually do fun, silly little things with these guys.
Do they get cheaper? 5 guys
They,
for 60 points, 12 points each.
yes. They used to be 16, I think.
Yeah, but they used to be stubborn if they were close to plague monks, didn't they? Maybe I'm thinking
I
something
think they
wrong.
were base stubborn, and I think they were base stubborn.
Now I'm wondering if they were stubborn when they were near the furnace.
Maybe that's what it was.
I
But they
think
could always,
stubborn near the furnace, but they could always use the leadership. Is I think what it was.
right, something like that. But I mean, either way, I think they're cool. They're fun. So I think there's a lot of options here, which makes me want to actually maybe try playing this game.
Yeah, that's all I wanted. That was the whole plan. I'm gonna do one of these videos with each of the people that used to play and get everyone to play. Shadows, Lore of Shadows, and Path of Disease. Path of Shadows, Path of Disease. I think we probably should have went over the spells
Actually, I think we should stop here and then at some point do another video
of all the spells.
of all the spells and everything else you want to discuss.
That's a great idea because
Okay.
it's already 11:15.
And it's already like 2 hours in. And we've had a
Right.
faithful viewer or two since the start. So
No. Do we have any comments?
for some reason, it disables them right in the beginning. So
Oh, okay. So maybe it does that for everyone. It's not that people were ignoring me.
all right, cool. Well, it has been a pleasure having you again.
Yes, it's always a pleasure
Maybe
to
we'll
talk
have.
to me.
Maybe we'll have. You're such a cocky bastard.
You forgot.
Yeah. Maybe we'll have Dylan join us next time.
A little bit of whoopee womp up in it. Yes. So big winner, options. Big loser, losing options.
For me, the big winner is it's streamlined and fair, and I feel like I could play
Yeah.
this army and not get shit on by people that lose against me.
Yeah, the big win is that you need 20 pages rather than an army book and a 30-page FAQ.
Excellent.
Yeah.
All right, everyone, signing off.
Are you saluting now?
Yep.
Okay. Bye, everybody.